What is up, everybody? Back here from our break. Told you he'd be with us earlier, and here he is now, Duncan Smith. It's not often we go behind enemy lines on the Banners broadcast, but new show in our young days here, trying to develop it a little bit, so why not try something new? We're going over the other side, and I don't think there's a better team we could have done it on than these Pistons, because they are on a roll right now. As Duncan pointed out on Twitter, they've beaten the Warriors, Clippers, and now the Celtics on the road. So some real impressive opponents have gone down at the hand of the Pistons this year, and they now sit second in the East, just games behind the Celtics, 13-6, off of a big win over the Celtics as we record this, 118-108. Of note, because Celtics defense has been stingy all this year. We've been talking about it over and over again. I did a little research into the Pistons pregame, and it's crazy how this team has just turned it around from day to night, year to year. I really cannot in recent memory think of a team that has just gone from so firmly entrenched in the middle of the league one year to one of the better ones the next year without a whole lot of change. We all know Avery Bradley made the move from Boston to Detroit, which makes this even more interesting. Marcus Morris joining our side. So let's get into it. As I said, Duncan Smith with us, Pistons powered, B-Ball Breakdown contributor. A lot of great contributors over there, B-Ball Breakdown, and he is one of them, and he is here to tell us what the heck happened. Where did this Pistons team come from?
Well, what's going on, Bobby? It's an interesting night of Pistons basketball, to say the least. That's a pretty common question that I've been asked, is like, where exactly did this team
I'm
come
sure
from?
you're a busy man nationally this year.
There have been a few Q&As, yeah. I think a lot of what this team is displaying right now is a result of Stan Van Gundy's patience from last year to this year. We didn't really get a chance to see what this young core looked like after the Pistons traded for Tobias Harris 2 seasons ago. Reggie Jackson came down with knee tendonitis last season, and they really never got anything going. 2 years ago, Reggie was probably the best player on the team. Last season, he was one of the worst players in the NBA.
Yeah,
that's not hyperbolic whatsoever. Like, he was, impact-wise, probably the most detrimental high-usage player in the league. And this year, all he really needed to do, I think, is just to be like even a neutral or a small plus. But tonight, I think he played a virtually perfect game. For example, and he's demonstrated an ability to be not necessarily a game manager, but to sort of like be a distributor first. He can be at his most effective when he's got like tonight, 10 field goal attempts. Van Gundy kept the core together. He built in depth. Like, tonight was one of the few times that actually that the Pistons bench hasn't been a difference. Usually the Pistons starters play to a small deficit overall, and then the bench just comes in and overwhelms. There's a lot of depth on this team. This team is built to shoot now. In years past, there was really no shooting to speak of. Last year, Reggie Bullock led the team in three-point shooting at like 38%. And then after that, it was Reggie Jackson at 36%. And he did like basically nothing else well last year. And then after that, you have a whole bunch of like 32, 33, 34% shooters last season. And this year, it's been I haven't looked at the updated numbers after this game, but they've got like 3 or 4 guys shooting like near or over 40%. Tobias Harris is shooting almost 50% from 3. Pretty much every transaction the Pistons made this summer was to add shooting. And at last check, I need to double check this as well. I think the stats they're up now, but they're a top 5 3-point shooting team this season, and like that alone is a big difference. Andre Drummond is a completely different player, unrecognizable, I think, to a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
he played perhaps. I saw some stats earlier. He had like the best game by a visitor in Boston since like 1977 or something. Andre Drummond is a brand new guy, man. Like 2020 games aren't exactly a frequent thing necessarily. But it's not that surprising to see him put up like 15 and then like throw 5 assists and 4 steals in. He's impactful in ways other than just rebounding now. Him and Avery Bradley have developed a really close synergy in like dribble handoffs.
And that surprised me.
A lot of that.
That surprised me a lot because if there's one thing we were stunned to see here as Boston people was Avery Bradley facilitating on offense like that, and the little 1-2 man game they had going on back and forth in between was impressive.